One of the things that I do as an entrepreneur is create jobs, create value, and I want to change my trajectory. I want to change my life. And that's why I came to ZenBusiness to start a business. I want to be my own boss. You might want to edit this out for all of you entrepreneurs. Raising money is really tough.
Alrighty, hello everyone, and welcome to the Deal Maker Show. So today's guest is super exciting. I mean, he's been in the world of startups for many years. But in today's session, really, we're going to be covering a lot. We're going to be covering building, scaling, creating new categories. What does it look like when you start to see traction, massive exits, you name it. So I guess without further ado, let's welcome our guest today, Buhrdorf. Welcome to the show.
Hey, great. Thanks for having me, Alejandro. I'm super excited about today and super excited about your show. I listened to it.
Oh, well, so glad to hear. So originally you were born in Lincoln, Nebraska. So how was life there?
Well, I'll tell you what, with this year, I'm down in Austin, Texas right now, and it feels like I'm back in Lincoln, Nebraska with all the snow and ice we got. So I froze my butt off in Lincoln. That's what happened. But I got down to Austin, Texas and went to the university as quick as I could.
Right. And obviously, your parents were definitely a great source of drive for you. I mean, they were like very much pushing you to even get, your paydays, removing snow and cutting
Yeah.
wood. So yeah, I'm sure that made a difference for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my both of my parents were, they had, and it's funny, we talk about my business, Zen business. Both of my parents had side gigs. I mean, they had regular jobs, but they had side gigs, and that seems to be even more popular right now with the pandemic as side gigs. So when I was going to school, I'd shovel snow as a kid when I was in middle school, and then later on when I was in university, I'd chop wood. So I was always an entrepreneur. My father was always a entrepreneur doing side gigs, whether it be, he had a dump truck and had a salvage business in addition to his regular business. And my mother hung wallpaper. They also did home renovations. So, from an early age, it was always, to have a side hustle and be an entrepreneur. And I jumped in early in my career.
That's amazing. And also you jumped into computers very early on. So what got you into computers?
I mean, I was they were just coming out, and it was just something I was enticed by, excited by, and I went to University of Texas, got my CS degree. I just think it was maybe the novelty of it, and it's certainly been. I think I picked the right field. It wasn't obvious when I started it out. It certainly, computers were coming on and it was important, but who would have thought that it impacted the world the way it has?
Yeah, 100%. Right away after actually you're getting your degree, you went at it. You went at it, but not as an entrepreneur yet. You went at it in the world of corporate. So how was that for you? I mean, doing a little bit of corporate America.
Yeah, it was good. I'll tell you what, it really was a pivotal point for me. I went to work. I actually interned at Data General while I was going to the University of Texas, and Data General was a microcomputer company like Digital Equipment Corporations. And I remember they had this huge year. They hit $1 billion in revenue, and 6 months later there was an economic downturn, and everyone got laid off, or a lot of people got laid off in the facility that we were working on, except for me. I was one of the people that didn't get laid off. And it was because I was a low paid intern that was adding a lot of value to the company. And it really impressed upon me at that time that, there's really not any difference in risk with respect to working for a big company or working for somebody else and being an entrepreneur or taking, your risk into your own hands. And so I really had this at a very, I think, pivotal age that, man, this big company thing is there's no guarantees. And I guess I'd rather go out on my own and take more risk with my career. And that's literally what I did from that point on. I went on to a company called Tandem, or went to Tandem Computers. That was my first job out of school. I needed a job, and had a family. Then worked at Tandem, got a great bunch of experience. It was really an internal startup at Tandem. We built the first fault tolerant Unix machine, and I played a part in that. And then after that, I went to HAL Computer Systems, which was my first real startup, and we built, that was the last computer company from the ground up. HAL Computer Systems, we built the first fault tolerant Spark chip. The Spark chip was what was in all the Sun Microsystems boxes. That computer and that company got bought by Fujitsu, and I was off to the races as an entrepreneur. After HAL, I went to Excite.com. That was a startup. I was in that was the whole internet boom. I was in the first few people at Excite.com. After Excite.com, I went to a series during the bust, after the internet 1.0 bust.
But
Oh yeah,
your experience is amazing here, Ross, because the I'm sure that going through the dot-com bust, uh, there's so many people that are probably listening to us now, and they don't even know what that is. And we're coming out of this market that we've been for 14 years, like celebrating, returns after returns. I mean, what were some of the lessons that you got from seeing that catastrophic environment of companies going, down the toilet, like one after the other?
yeah, yeah. I'll tell you what, it made a heck of a, if it wasn't radio, I'd say another word, but it made a heck of a impression upon me, the bust, because I had made a fortune at Excite.com. $4 options that were over $300 at the peak of the market, and I thought it was a great idea because we were riding so high. Well, I'll invest that in Sun Microsystems and Cisco. And at the time, Cisco was the largest cap company in the world, and boom, it all kept tumbling down. So I lost a lot of money, uh, and as a result, that really makes a heck of an impression on you. Made me more conservative in my approach moving forward. And what it taught me is that there has to be real value. You have to be building real value for your customer. You have to have real retention. Uh, you have to build a product that your customer wants. Now, certainly at Excite.com, we did do that, but a lot of the other companies that were surrounding it, you know, the market viewed it as a land grab. It didn't matter if you made money; it just mattered that you were capturing eyeballs, and ultimately, eyeballs don't necessarily pay the bills. You have to have a real business model underneath it. And so, I think what I walked out of from that point of from that part of my career is, you know, and it's made me, I would say, I'm certainly not risk averse. I mean, as a startup and an entrepreneur, risk is one of the things that you have to spend, is how you outcompete the incumbents. But I'm also very focused on unit economics, a sustainable business, building real value for customers, or like I always say, you can't lie to your customers.
Yeah, no,
Ultimately,
100%. After this experience for you too, Ross, I mean, you did a couple of failed enterprise startups that I'm sure that really gave you a lot of lessons and experiences on, and also on your view on how you wanted to execute and do things well, and avoid, not doing perhaps the mistakes that you had seen in the past. But that was the segue that really got you into being the founding CTO of at this small company at the time called HomeAway. Is that
yeah.
right?
Yeah, so I was the founding CTO at HomeAway, and we had created, we created the category leader, the unicorn for the vacation rental segment. Did 28 plus acquisitions, raised a 450 plus $1 million, did an IPO, and then ultimately sold it to Expedia for 3.9 billion. I mean, it's it's really something to go through, create a unicorn like that, and go through that experience. You know, and I think my career up to that point had built upon that. I mean, at Excite.com, we did lots of acquisitions, so I knew how to do those. But nothing, prepares you for the fantastic growth we had at HomeAway. And here again, it comes back to one of my tenets: great business model, always returned, for all of our investors. Always was a profitable business, maintained the growth even past the IPO. Really was a standout business from a business model point of view. And it also, just delivered so much value, not only for the owners of the vacation rentals that rented them out, but the travelers. It was just a fantastic and great experience. So, again, I always focus on the customer experience and building that value. And, everything else works out as long as you've got a sound business model underneath it.
So how does a remarkable customer experience look like? I mean, what does it look like from a 30,000-foot view?
Well, I mean, the the I'd ask it's not so much of how does it look like. It's more, to me, is what are your customers telling you, right? So it's having a feedback loop with your customers that are where they're giving you the feedback. I like this. I don't like this. This is no good. This is great. I want more of this. So it's, of course, you want to start out with all the best practices and the best UI and a great user experience, but it's about value. In the case of HomeAway, you know, early on with a lot of the companies we acquired, they didn't have great user interfaces. And when we put them together, we were struggling to put all these companies together. But it was such a fantastic traveler experience once they stayed in a vacation rental. It was like they didn't have access to these properties. So the value was so tremendous, and the experience was such a great experience for them and their family, that we had, over the top NPS, after net promoter score, after travelers would stay in the house. So that was the value. And then if you think about a tremendous customer experience for the people that owned the vacation rentals, now all of a sudden they were making more money than they ever had because of the distribution that we provided, and making income off of these vacation rental houses. So again, it was that overwhelming value, and ultimately coupled with a great user interface and great customer support. All of those things, combine to make a tremendous user experience, customer experience.
So what was that point like when the deal is inked and HomeAway is sold for 3.9 billion, and you're able to look back and to reflect and to say, I was part of this thing. I actually eh, engineered, the first, product, and the way that we were engaging with customers. I mean, that must be very fulfilling.
Yes, I mean it was. I mean, I think that was we'd done the IPO before then, so we'd had lots of peak experiences. But I really do think that was, the ultimate to go full cycle was to sell it to Expedia. Expedia came out and said this was the best acquisition. I think it is still to this day generating a tremendous amount of money and revenue for them. I mean, I it's kind of like a frog in a pot of water, hot water. You don't know it until it happens. It's a lot easier to look back on it and see it as a peak experience. It's just fabulous to be able to build something like that, and to see all of the trade-offs and the decisions you made, ultimately come out for in a great outcome for all of the employees and all of the teammates and all the investors. I think that's very rewarding, and ultimately what I'm always trying to achieve is that outcome.
So in this case, with HomeAway, you were exposed to acquisitions. I mean, you guys did their 28 acquisitions. Now you've even done, a bunch of acquisitions already with ZenBusiness. and we're going to be talking about now about ZenBusiness. But what did you get from, because it seems that now you're even doing it, as ZenBusiness. So how do you see acquisitions as a tool or a strategy to grow faster?
Yeah, I mean, both at HomeAway and also at Zen Business, you know, acquisitions are really a way again to accelerate growth. So you can either do it organically or you can buy companies that also have some good organic position or customer base or technology. So it really is just this way to accelerate, and it's not for the faint-hearted. And the fact that I've brought together a lot of the HomeAway, as I said, the HomeAway mafia, a lot of my old colleagues, some of which I've worked, many of which I've worked for decades. We can do these acquisitions easier than other companies because of our size. Big companies can't do acquisitions as effectively as we can. And so what it really is, as you said, it's really just about acceleration, and where the sum is bigger than the parts, and so you get this accretive effect of doing acquisitions. It accelerates you, even just the IP and the knowledge and the skill set and the team members. It all accelerates you, let alone any revenue benefit or marketing benefit that you get from it. We've done 3 acquisitions so far. 2 of them have really been about organic position or SEO, and the third one was platform. We bought Joust, which was a fintech challenger bank platform that embeds all of the fintech solutions for our platform. It would have taken us years and years to develop that, and we acquired it, and we've already launched it in Q1. We've already launched our rebranded. It's called Send Business Money as part of our platform. So that's what it does. I mean, it accelerated us by a couple of years.
Nice. So then let's talk about ZenBusiness, because after the acquisition of HomeAway, rather than taking, time off or retiring or whatever people would do after, experiencing a big transaction like that, you went at it again. You went at it with ZenBusiness. So tell us about how you really came up with this idea and what was that process of giving birth to it.
Yeah, Alejandro, I wish I could say it was some genius idea that I came up with and everything worked out perfectly. My plan was to take a year off and cool down. I made it 10 months. And these two, but what bloodthirsty startup guys, entrepreneurs, kept pestering me to take a look at their business. At the time, it was the previous business to Zen Business. I took a look at it and I said, "Well, guys, this is something that seems interesting. I'll come on as a CEO and put in an investment." And we really recreated the founding team. I brought on a couple of my friends from HomeAway, and we started up Zen Business at that time. These guys were already in the formation space, but they were focused on law offices and white labeling. We pivoted at that point and really started going after formation business. And we looked at the main competitor out there, LegalZoom, which is a great business, but much in the same way that Airbnb disrupted HomeAway, and I was on the other end of that. I could see that there was this huge incumbent in the formation space. We could do a much better job, and we disrupted or making a dent in the way formations are done and the way small businesses are created and how they're managed. As I say, Zen Business does all the back office, headache inducing paperwork. We make your business worry free. So we make it Zen for you as a small business or a micro business or solopreneur. We handle everything you need to get your business up and running and going and manage all of that for you. So, here again, it's that same theme, Alejandro, is, just delivering more value than you're asked to deliver. We have a super high NPS, super high reviews, and just a great product for a great price. It's the same theme throughout my whole career is deliver value, and we always laugh at work. I can remember laying in bed praying for my first customer to come up, please buy our service, please.
Right.
And we had 5 6 different websites trying different value propositions, and we got traction with one, and that's really what we've been going after ever since is continuing to build value for our customers, and they love us for it, and we love them for being our customers.
And how has it been for you to this transition? Because obviously in HomeAway, it was more like the CTO, the engineering, the technical side. I'm sure that you were obviously involved with business, but here we're talking about transitioning from CTO to CEO. I mean, it's different responsibilities and perhaps different ways of analyzing things. So how has it been for you, that transition?
Yeah, Alejandro, I get to answer that question, and I, for me, I'll tell you the punchline is I should have done it years ago. Everyone says I'm doing a pretty good job. I mean, I think we just raised a big round. We're doing fantastic on growth. We're having explosive growth and really building out a great product and a team. Um, for me, it's when I left as the CTO of HomeAway and it got acquired. It was like, well, what do you do next? I couldn't retire. I was too young. I enjoy work. I enjoy, giving back to the world. And one of the things that I do as an entrepreneur is create jobs, create value, and keep the cart going. So I needed to add value. What do I do next? And I think it was for me, it was the CEO, and much like this is really full circle, and just like at HomeAway, I bought vacation rentals. I ran or I drank my own champagne, as we used to say, not eat our own dog food. I had vacation rentals, and one of the things we surveyed our customers, and we asked them, why did you start a business right now? And the lion's share, the majority of them came out and said, I want to change my life. I want to change my trajectory. I want to change my life. And that's why I came to ZenBusiness to start a business. I want to be my own boss. And we asked, what held you back? And they said they were insecure, fear. They didn't know how to do it. They were, worried that they'd do it something wrong. And I think that's the same thing for me. Anyone that, what held me back from being a CTO to CEO is fear, but it's not rational fear. It's, can I do this? Can I raise money? Am I going to be able to lead all these people? So far, so good. It's the same path that all of our entrepreneurs have to take. We're here to help them. We're here to make them successful. For me, it was easy transition in hindsight. I was a product CTO, very technical, but also very business and product focused. I think that there's a lot of CTOs becoming CEOs in big companies. I look at one of our competitors, GoDaddy, has a CTO that's gone CEO. It's a natural for us. We're very data oriented. We're a very technical company. We're a very product oriented company. So, we've got good technology, good product, and very buttoned up data.
Amazing. So in terms of capital, I mean, you were alluding to it. How much capital have you guys raised to date?
It's coming in that first, the first bunch of it. I begged, borrowed, stealed, put in my own money at the seed round, but right now we're at 70 plus million we've raised. The first round was around 15. The second round was 55, pulled in another million, 56. So in that 70 million range we've raised so far.
Got it. And does it get easier over time?
Does it get easier? Oh my God! This is you asked about the maybe we might want to edit this out for all you entrepreneurs. Raising money is really tough, and it gets. I don't know if it gets easier or harder or it's the same. I thought, my goodness, we should be able to raise money in a few months. It always seems like it takes 6 months to raise money and to do the close. Um, as my lovely wife Paula, I'd get phone calls and sometimes I'd be frustrated and say, "Oh my God, they're asking this question and that question," and it's like, when's this going to end? Uh, and she asked the question. She said, "Well, how much money are they giving you?" And I'd say some enormous money, and she turned to me and she said, "They get to ask any damn question they want if they're giving you that much money." So, so you
That's
know, I
amazing.
I think it's I am maybe not the norm for entrepreneurs. I absolutely you know uh, you know love venture capitalists. It is the advantage that the U.S. has in the world market. My whole career has been based on venture capital. My experience with venture capitalists is that they're great. I've always had great investors, and so you know, it's. I would just tell people, get out there, pitch, get your story out. It's much the same. It's much the same thread that I've been saying this whole time. Is you can't lie to your customers. You can't lie to investors. Get your story out there and tell it to investors. They'll tell you exactly what's wrong with it. We have, I mean, I've changed the course of the company based on feedback from investors prior to it even getting out to customers. I mean, what could be better than that? And so, I think it's get out there with your customers, be focused on making revenue, get out there with investors early, and be telling your story, and you'll get feedback. And the more feedback, the more value you bring, the easier it is to raise money. This so it's hard to raise money. I mean, just the process of it is hard to raise money. Now we're doing so well. I think we're kind of over the hump. Knock on wood. Hopefully, this next round will be um, easier. Knock on wood. But I say that
Yeah.
about every round.
I hear
Um,
you. Well, obviously, different rounds, different expectations, but it's not like selling a dream like you're doing more at the seed
yeah.
stage. It's more like numbers and historicals and things like that. But one thing that I wanted to ask you, so that the people that are listening, get a good idea, is in terms of scope and size. I mean, anything that you can share on how big Zen Business is, maybe number of employees or anything that you feel comfortable with.
Yeah, I mean, we're over 200 employees. We've got, over 110,000, well over 110,000 customers and formations. Um, we do thousands and thousands and thousands of new customers on a monthly basis. Um, you know, we do. Uh, we don't publish our revenue numbers, but we do pretty good sized revenue numbers. Even right now, we have a super high NPS. We have a 4.8 out of 5 on Trust Pilot. Um, you know,
Very nice.
yeah,
In terms of, one of the questions that I typically ask the guests that come on the show is, if I was to put you in a time machine, Ross, and I take you back in time to that moment that, maybe you were thinking about launching a business, that younger Ross, and you had the opportunity of giving one piece of business advice to your younger self. What would that be, and why, before launching a company based on what you know now?
yeah. I mean, I think it's fear is a liar. Fear is a liar. I mean, you just have to jump in and go for it. I mean, Alejandro, you're a entrepreneur. I'll push it back on you. I mean, the difference I think between uh, successful ones and not successful ones is that successful ones are willing to take the leap, and they're also willing to listen to the truth. You know, they don't shy away from the truth. They go for it like a hot flame. What are the problems with the business? What are the issues? What are we hearing? You know, how do we fix this? Where's the opportunity? And I think, um, you know, early on for me, it's just this. You know, fear is a liar. Go for it.
I
It'll
love it. I
it'll
mean, I'm right there with you. I find that, the big difference between the people that succeed and the people that fail is taking action. And when there is let's say, fear, that's the opportunity for growth. And that's the problem of being in corporate America. Nothing, wrong against it. It's just, you get paid a nice salary to get intellectually stuck, because when you have fear, you learn so fast. It's unbelievable.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
Ross, for the people that are listening, what is the best way for them to reach out and say hi?
I think it's just send me a note. It's Ross, ROSS, at ZenBusiness.com.
Amazing. Well, Ross, thank you so much for being on the Deal Maker Show today.
Thank you for having me. It's a privilege.